Am I the a-hole for calling the bride to be manipulative and awful after she treated us like servants and cash machines? A childhood friend, 32 male, decided to get married this year and has been with his significant other, 33 female, for a few years now. He changed slowly. He stopped going to soccer practice and games, only spent time at work and home, stopped seeing his family and friends, and all of us have been rather concerned about that. We talked to him and asked if everything is alright, but as he is a man, talking about his feelings and his well-being seems forced, and he normally just pushes our concerns away. We tried to meet with her as well a few times, but we could hardly get to know her. In those 4 years, even his parents only met her 3 times for less than an hour, because she is a busy person, she said. Last year, he suddenly announced that he wants to marry a significant other. They have been together for only 3 years, with the occasional breakups. After every breakup, he went back and alienated us more and more. The bride asked us some weeks ago to contribute, emphasized on perfection, dedication, and simply started to give out tasks without us even agreeing on helping out. I literally received an email from her with my tasks to complete within a deadline one day, without warning or knowing. His relatives and friends talked this over, and we agreed on helping, but it all turned out to be terrible. The wedding is over the top. She expects the groom's family to pay for everything, and even told us to chip in. A few days ago, it became ridiculously sad. I received calls from a carriage rental, a pigeon guy, and a bird rental. I didn't know this even exists. And they told me about the bride's plan to have birds placed all over, some flying through the sky while she comes in with a horse carriage. I told the groom's father about the expenses, and he simply started laughing and said that he won't pay a dime for this wedding anymore, and that they agreed on a simple wedding, not a Disney movie set. The groom's friends met for our weekly socializing and discussed what has happened, most of them being relieved and others just being happy. Suddenly, the bride came by, stormed in, and accused us of sabotaging this marriage, the wedding, and her life. After a drama class performance and lots of screaming and pretend crying, I told her that not only has she been self-centered and inconsiderate, but she's now nothing but manipulative and simply awful. I lashed out a bit about her controlling behavior regarding our groom friend, and that all of this just became ridiculous. She didn't say a word and simply left. The friend group agreed and also told the groom that they won't help anymore, if the wedding isn't reasonable, and if she doesn't start being cooperative. The groom called me up today and said I need to fix this, that I was an a-hole for being so harsh to her, and she hasn't stopped crying since then. I declined, as I think I simply told the truth. So am I the a-hole? I wouldn't spend a nickel on that wedding, or more than 60 seconds helping out. They'll be separated again in a couple of months. Not an a-hole. On another note, why would you even want to go to the wedding of 2 awful people? Take whatever time and money you would have spent on those people, and go hang out with people who are interested in being friends. Well, one awful person, and one potentially emotionally mistreated male friend who could hopefully use this as an eye-opening experience. Agreed. Save your cash. Take him on a trip in lieu of a wedding once they break up again. Not a hole. The groom called me up today and said I need to fix this. What you need to do to fix this mess is help him get out of this BS relationship. It's painfully obvious she's emotionally abusive. The fact that he stopped meeting you guys, his family, even his parents never saw her for more than 4 hours total in 4 years, and stopped doing what he likes, soccer I assume, is textbook behavior of victims. She, the predator, didn't want anyone to see how she was eating him away. And the fact that he's a man most certainly comes because of how she treats him, and how she would berate him, I believe. Unless he was always like this, please clarify, Opie. Is your friend that blinded by love that he has lost his common sense? His rosy glasses are showing him the crimson flags as pinkish are just flags. Save him, not the a-hole. You can't save someone who doesn't want to save themselves. Right now, it doesn't seem like the groom is ready to be saved yet. But it's always good to let him know that if anything happens and he needs out, you will be there for him, no question asked. Not the a-hole. That's totally bridezilla crap. Your friend needs to recognize who's truly right and wrong, and fix the situation before he loses all his family and friends. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for asking my wife to change the dress she was going to wear at my uncle's wedding? Basically the title, but here's some context. So my male 27 uncle got married a couple of weeks ago. He is the youngest of 4 and he's 4 years older than me, and for that we're super close. However, my wife has not been in good terms with my uncle's wife, but overall they're cordial with each other. 3 weeks prior to the wedding, she purchased a white dress which was similar to a wedding dress, silhouette style. I asked her if she was going to wear that at the wedding. She said no. She already had a yellow maxi dress for the wedding. I was relieved, otherwise we would have had a problem. While we were getting ready to go, she walked out the bedroom wearing the white dress I saw weeks ago. I told her to wait and asked why she was wearing the white dress and not the yellow one. She said she gave it to her sister since it's her style and couldn't say no because her sister begged her to borrow it for her trip. Explained that the white dress looked better and felt more comfortable, so no problem. I said of course we had a problem. Wearing white to a wedding when she's not the bride is a huge no. I told her I didn't want for us to cause drama and attention. But she got mad and said she's an adult and is responsible for her dress choice. I firmly told her as the argument got heated that I strongly believe her reasons to wear the white dress were because of her issues with my uncle's then soon-to-be wife. I suggested she stay at home and not attend if she can't get along with her, but she said it wasn't about that. Eventually, I asked her to change the dress and wear something else, something more appropriate. But she turned this into a huge argument about me treating her selfishly and basically choosing my uncle and his wife's feelings over hers, because I told her I don't want this to affect my relationship with my uncle. She got all stubborn and refused, saying she either keep the dress or not go. She chose to stay. I went to the wedding without her and I wasn't happy. Since then, she's been giving me the cold shoulder, saying I deprived her at being at the wedding by policing her looks and disregarding her feelings. I asked how she'd feel if someone showed up in a white dress at our wedding, for example. Would she be okay with that? I got no response, but all she says now is I chose my uncle and his wife's feelings over hers. Am I the a-hole? It's too close of a coincidence that she bought a white dress before and just had to give the yellow one away. Good for you for sticking up for your uncle and his bride. You potentially prevented a huge scene and saved family drama. If she genuinely wanted to go to the wedding and not have drama, changing would have been a simple request. I don't think you chose their feelings. You chose what was right and kind, because her choice would have had a negative impact on others. She's trying to manipulate the situation into being about her feelings, but this was a choice she made that unfortunately had consequences. That is on her. Your wife knows it was wrong. That's why she won't answer you when you remind her that she wouldn't be okay with it at her wedding. Not the whole. This. Also, I have a few questions for Opie. 1. How's your relationship with your uncle? You said he's 4 years older than you, so he's 31? 2. How is your wife's relationship with your uncle? 3. Has your uncle's wife given your wife any reason to not like her? You're not a day-hall, by the way. 1. You're correct about my uncle's age. We're very close and treat each other like friends. Mostly call him by his first name. Uncle is only in public. 2. My wife's relationship with my uncle was okay until my uncle's wife came along. The issues between my wife and my uncle's wife certainly impacted my uncle. Frankly, I see no reason why my wife would dislike my uncle's wife, and this answers the third question, I guess. Your wife is an a-hole and she knows it. She also knows that wearing white to another woman's wedding is not only wrong, but a clear attempt to stand up the bride and steal her moment. Assuming, of course, the wedding is in a culture where the bride wears a white dress and nobody else does, which I assume we're talking about here. More, your wife tried to power play and lost. That's going to be a problem for a long time because you chose your uncle's happiness over her desire to show up his wife. You absolutely did the right thing. You were not the a-hole. And you still lose, because your wife's mad and will likely never forget this. Maybe you want to consider this and think about whether this is a one-off or a deeper problem in her personality. If she's going to be like this your entire life, well, that's some thinking to do. Not the a-hole. Your wife was being unbelievably selfish. Does she really not understand how rude it is to wear white at a wedding when you're not the bride? I asked her a question about it, but did not get a response. I'm sure if someone did that at our wedding, she would have been furious. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to let my friend propose at my wedding? I, 27 female, am getting married at the end of the month, and my childhood best friend and maid of honor, 27 female, has asked me if she can propose to her girlfriend at my wedding. She says it would be nice if she could get engaged at my wedding, because she's with her girlfriend because of me and my partner, and it would be sweet to get engaged when we were celebrating our love and commitment to each other. Her girlfriend is a university friend of my partner's, and they met at our housewarming party. I told her no because it's my wedding, so she said that I was being a selfish witch, and I couldn't let her have this one good thing because I always had to make myself the center of attention. I told her no again, and that if she still wanted to propose at my wedding, she better tell me now so I can get a new maid of honor and that she's uninvited from the wedding. She ended a call, and we haven't spoken in nearly a month. My partner asked me if letting her propose at our wedding would be such a bad thing, and if I'm really willing to throw away a 20+ year friendship over it. Most of our mutual friends are on my side, but some of them are telling me that I should let her have this. I feel guilty because I have been the more outgoing one in our friendship, so I tend to get most of the attention from other people. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I love how she thinks you're selfish for not wanting her to propose at your wedding. Like what? I'd keep her demoted and uninvited at this point. Sad, but honestly, she doesn't sound like much of a friend. Exactly. Clearly this friend likes to deflect. Uninvite your maid of honor and choose a new one. I'm guessing your friend group are always bending to her drama. Some people don't like to rock the boat, but they're just teaching her that if she pitches a fit, she can get her way. If she does come and gets engaged, please announce your pregnancy at her wedding. Because I always had to make myself the center of attention. That's pretty normal on your wedding day though. This is the day to celebrate your love with your partnership and your union. It's selfish of her to make the day about her too. Not the a-hole. I was thinking the same thing. Like, what kind of best friend is she to turn it around on Opie and gaslight her into thinking she's the a-hole? Not the a-hole at all. And find yourself another maid of honor because she ain't it. Laughing my butt off. We have a rule. If you propose at my wedding, you're getting a bill. Meaning, if my wedding cost me $8,000, you get a note in the mail from me letting you know that you owe me $2,000. That's provided I can keep my composure during. Not the a-hole. Tell your friend to get lost. My policy has been, they pay a percentage of the bill reflective of how early they proposed, but never less than 50%. An Opie a few months ago had her brother-in-law proposed during the freaking ceremony. They would pay 100%. If you propose after the cake cutting, you might only pay 75% if I'm feeling generous. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for wearing white as maid of honor while my friend is the bride? My best friend Joy, 28 female, is getting married next year to her longtime partner. Recently, she started wedding planning and asked me, 29 female, to be her maid of honor. We have been friends for nearly 20 years, and needless to say, I was super excited. Joy started planning, and it's been incredibly stressful for her. I have tried my best to be as supportive and helpful where I can, going above and beyond. Daily discussions, fielding unwieldy family members, acting as a buffer sometimes. I am prefacing with this because the next part is frankly bonkers and I'm having trouble processing. Last Sunday, Joy and I met with some of our friends for lunch. We're all vaccinated at this point. Since it was the first time seeing friends in a while, and we were going to a nice restaurant, I decided to dress up a little. It was pretty hot over the weekend, so I opted to wear an old, white linen dress to our gathering, one I have worn many times. I thought everything was totally fine, but I noticed Joy giving me strange looks at lunch and only talking in short responses with me. I brushed it off as stress, and when we got up to say goodbye, Joy left in a rush. When I got home, I had a bunch of angry texts from Joy, saying she was disappointed in me and couldn't believe I would try to dull her shine during the special time. I was confused, asked her to elaborate. Apparently, she was furious that I had dared to wear white while she was the bride-to-be. I was floored. I apologized, kind of, stating that I was sorry she was so upset, but that I wasn't sure how my wearing white to a casual friend's hangout was a slight on her being a bride, nor how it was taking attention away from her. She flipped out and called me all sorts of names and said she has no idea how she could have picked such an unsupportive and attention-grabbing maid of honor. I snapped a little and told her that while I respected she was getting married, that did not entitle her on a monopoly in the color white, and that while her wedding was the most important thing going on in her life, it was not the most important thing going on in other people's lives. Now, I am aware that a bride generally wears white to wedding-related events, and the guests should not. But this brunch was not wedding-related in the slightest. I feel especially sad since I feel that I have gone out of my way to help, and our past friendship has been very calm and loving. My friends are generally supportive of me. A few think I should have somehow had a foresight to see this. Apparently, psychic abilities are another maid of honor requirement I missed. But think I should just try to make peace since she's clearly under a lot of stress. I do feel a bit bad, especially about the comment about her wedding not being the most important thing in my life. But I'm not budging. Am I the a-hole? Okay, I read the title and thought you were talking about the wedding. And I was like, yes, duh. But a casual non-wedding related lunch? No, not the a-hole. Not even a little. Consider not being her maid of honor. Sounds like a truly hellish experience has headed your way there. I was imagining Opie asking if it was okay to wear white, because the bride picked out white bridesmaids' dresses and was worried guests would think they are all a-holes. But no, Opie's friend is just a crazy bridezilla that thinks she now has a monopoly in the color white at any and all events until her wedding, despite said events having nothing to do with her wedding at all. I hope the bride isn't attending anyone else's wedding before hers. Not the a-hole. I'm literally a bride going to be married in 2 weeks. At my own bridal shower, a bridesmaid wore an off-white summer dress. I gave 0 Fs. She looked pretty. Your friend is being a bridezilla. White at a bridal shower is pushing it. It's great that it didn't bother you. But for anyone reading this, just stay away from white at wedding-related events in the West. It's not worth the potential hurt and drama, and there are plenty of other colors to choose from. White is flattering for very few people anyway. Not the a-hole. So she expects for no one to be allowed to wear white around her until she gets married next year? I would buy a few white pieces just to spite her.
Future mother-in-law called me stupid, and now I'm considering calling off the wedding. How do I approach the situation? Original post. I, 23 female, am engaged to John, 24 male. We have been together for 5 years. We want to get married in July 2025. I always thought that his family liked me because we get along well. He has 2 older brothers, 26 and 29, both married. Honestly, I was very excited to have them all as my in-laws. They were always kind to me. Some kind of important information. About a year ago, when I was scrolling on Instagram, I saw a profile that was kind of cringy, but in a cute way. It was an older woman's profile who shared inspirational quotes. I remember one particular post, and it was something along the lines of, "Only stupid people pretend to know everything. Don't pretend, just ask." Honestly, this quote changed me in a lot of ways. Before that, I was always worried that I might embarrass myself if I didn't know something. And after reading that quote, I realized that if I always pretended that I knew everything, then I'd miss out on actually getting to learn about things. So I decided to change my habits and start admitting that sometimes I genuinely don't know. Someone is talking about the war in Kosovo? Okay, sure. But first, let me ask some questions so I can really understand what we're talking about. And I ask a lot of questions sometimes. I sometimes even open the Notes app and write in some questions that I later want to find answers to. These are my latest. 1. How does time work in a black hole? 2. Why do some snails have shells and others don't? 3. What food is okay for ducks? 4. How does a light bulb work, the old ones with gas inside them? 5. Does everyone see colors the same? And how can we know that? Sorry for the long introduction, but it was kind of necessary for understanding what kind of person I am. I know that sometimes I might come across as annoying. Now on to the problem. His parents hosted a small barbecue last weekend only for the family. So it was the mom, 54 female, dad, 59 male, brothers and their wives, both 27. I was the last person to show up because I had to work late. I entered the house, and when I was walking towards the back of the house into the backyard, I heard John's mom talking about me. To be honest, she wasn't talking about me, more like mocking me. I heard her say in a high-pitched voice, "How does the sun work? Where should I put the fork? Why does nobody like me? How do I wipe my ass?" I just stood there. I had this sinking feeling. I couldn't move, so I just stood there. And I heard them all laughing. One of the wives said, "I actually don't mind her always asking questions. I think it's cute." And it made me feel hopeful that they would say something like, "Yeah, sure, we're just playing. We love that." But none of them did. Instead, the mom replied, "It's not cute. She's just stupid." After that, they laughed again. I even heard John laughing. My heart kind of broke in that moment because he didn't even say one positive thing. He didn't defend me. He just laughed. I quietly turned around and left the house. I texted John that I got sick and had to stay home. Now I'm wondering how I should approach this situation. We live together, and I sleep in the guest bedroom for now. And I use the excuse that I don't want him to get sick from being around me. I can't ignore him forever, and I can't pretend to be sick anymore because it's been too long. I'm not sure how to proceed. Maybe it was just a misunderstanding? I'm considering talking to them about this, but I'm also worried that they won't be honest with me. I can't marry him if he really thinks I'm stupid, but I also can't marry into a family who thinks so little of me. But maybe it was a joke and I shouldn't take it so seriously. I'm so torn apart, and every day I convince myself a bit more that it's okay, and sometimes we should all laugh about ourselves. Now I feel like I'm just going crazy. I would really appreciate some advice. Edit. There are many comments saying that they cannot stand people like me. I agree that sometimes I can be a bit too much with the questions. But with that being said, I still think I'm within reason. I don't do it around people I just met. I rarely do it at parties or other gatherings. I usually do it with people who are close to me, who I think wouldn't judge me, or with people who specifically have knowledge about something and are willing to share it. If I'm a part of a conversation, I'm not rude and I'm not interrupting. I usually just ask 1 or 2 questions. If a discussion is about climate change, I'm not asking about monkeys, if you know what I'm saying. I'm also not a complete dumbass. I don't ask questions that generally would be considered dumb to other people. Those I just write in the Notes app and check the answers later on the internet. I'm capable of reading, so I make good use of it. But after all, I still do ask questions a lot. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. Tell John what you heard. Tell him of all the things you heard. His reaction hurt you the most. Tell him you cannot believe how cruel his mother was, and his laughter and failure to stand up for you was like a knife in the heart. Then ask him, "Why should I marry you?" Someone who is comfortable laughing at me when they think I can't hear them. You know, I ask questions to better understand something. The smartest person in the room is the person who knows they don't know everything and is not afraid to ask. When I heard everyone, all I could hear was ignorance, unkindness, a lack of grace, and no love whatsoever. How very graceful of you and your family to mock someone. Frankly, I'd call off the wedding. Start out with, "How does the sun work? Where should I put the fork? Why does nobody like me? How do I wipe my ass?" Follow up with, "Why should I waste my time on a partner who doesn't respect me enough to defend me when people mock me? And how do I tell my fiancé that his mother is a C-word?" They were laughing at you behind your back. If he says anything along the lines of, "That is how they are, get over it. It is not a big deal. You are too sensitive," anything that excuses their behavior, then he is really asking you to accept it. He asking you to give your permission for it to continue, and your silence is your permission for it to continue. If they can't say it to your face, that tells you a world of information about the kind of people they are. If you want to see how things really are, confront them about this and see what happens. Their reactions will tell you everything you need to know about all of them, and will be helpful in making such a big decision. It will show you how they deal with conflict, which will be a good indication of what you will be getting yourself into should you marry this guy. They will be a part of your life for as long as they are alive. You need to know if you can tolerate being a part of his family. Now for the first update. First of all, I wanted to say thank you to the people who reached out to answer my questions about black holes, snails, ducks, light bulbs, and other stuff. I would love to have you as my friends. For the other people who said I should just shut up, I don't really care if you find me annoying or hard to be around. I'm okay with that. I don't exist to please everyone. I'm just here for a good time, to have my own interests and to learn. I didn't expect my post to gain so much attention, but I'm so grateful for the advice. Most of you told me to break up with him, and at the very least confront him. So that's what I decided to do. You gave me the push and confidence to do it. But before I did that, I texted the wife of John's brother, the one who said she liked me asking questions. I asked if we could meet up for coffee. She said sure. We met, and I didn't see the point in pretending to her that I didn't hear their conversation. So after some small talk, I just said, I heard you all talking about me during the barbecue. She immediately got sad and said she feels embarrassed. She explained that it wasn't a joke, wasn't out of context, that it was just mean and hurtful. She said she's sorry for not defending me more, but I said that it's okay and I understand. I told her that I don't blame her for anything, and I just wanted to make sure that I understand the situation and see it for what it really was. And it really was laughing about me behind my back, just bullying. At this point, I just had to confront John. In my last post, so many comments were saying that he would probably try gaslighting me. And you were right. We were having dinner together for the first time since the barbecue happened, because before, I had tried my best to avoid him. Yes, I know, not very mature of me, but other than you guys, I don't really have a strong support system. My family and best friends are hundreds of kilometers away. I only have 2 good friends here. I was so stressed I thought I was going to pass out. My legs were shaking, and I was terrified because I knew deep down that this was the moment when my 5-year relationship would go down the drain. I looked him in the eyes and asked, "How does the sun work?" He looked confused, so I followed with, "Where should I put my fork? Why does nobody like me?" At this point, realization hit him, and he started nervously laughing. I said I was there and I heard them. After the initial shock passed, he got mad. He said it was rude to eavesdrop. I said it's rude to bully people. He tried telling me that it was just a joke, that I shouldn't be so uptight, that it really was funny. I said that I didn't find it funny and went to the guest room to calm down. He started panicking. He was asking me to please talk to him. He was much more apologetic and said that he would be 100% honest with me. I asked if his mother had made similar comments before the barbecue. He said yes. I asked him if he had ever defended me. He said he tries to. I don't know if I believe him. He told me he loves me and respects me. I don't know if I believe that either. I said that I love him too, but I need a break. He's all I've ever known. He was my first and only partner. I have no outside perspective on this. I have no experience. I need a moment to think. I will be going to my friend's house for a while to think everything through. The apartment has his name on the lease anyway. After I gathered some of my things and left, he kept texting me nonstop. He tried calling, but I didn't respond. I was very hurt because he tried to belittle my feelings, and only later, when he realized that I might break up with him, did he start apologizing. The next day, I decided to give him another chance to explain himself, and I came back to the apartment. He seemed very sad and tired. He said that he told his mother that I had overheard them. I said I don't care. It's his time to step up and show me that he cares. I'm not interested in an apology from his mother. I'm already done with her. I can't put up with this behavior and mocking me like we're in primary school. I saw a comment saying that probably her ego is hurting. I think it's true. She never got the chance or never had the desire to have an education. She is a very good homemaker, but outside of that, she doesn't have many interests of her own. If I'm asking her about making tomato soup, she will be talking for 30 minutes, lecturing me about adding enough sugar, but not too much. She will lecture anyone who is willing to listen. But anytime someone is talking about something she's not familiar with, she gets defensive and tries to imply that nobody cares about that, and if it's not relevant to her, it shouldn't be discussed. Once again, he tried telling me that I should relax because it was only a joke. And at this point, I had enough. I took off my ring and told him that his behavior is a joke, and I can't be the punchline. I told him that I wish him and his family the best, and to look in the mirror to check if they really are as superior as they think they are. I said I'm going to be back with my friend soon to pick up the rest of my stuff, and to not contact me again unless it's about moving my things out. And that's it. I'm done. Thank you all for the advice. Without you, I wouldn't have had the confidence to leave this man. I know I deserve better. I can't be with someone who can't stand up for me, and I wouldn't be able to feel comfortable around his family, so I'm done with the relationship. I hope they will treat his next girlfriend better. Thank you again, Reddit, for the advice. He said it's rude to eavesdrop. Lemeo, the audacity of this man. You're so rude for listening to the crap we were talking about you and the house you were in. The irony of him and his garbage family calling you stupid when he tried to pull this inane nonsense is priceless. Your instincts are completely right, and you clearly are a smart girl with a good head on your shoulders. I'm also a person who loves learning about the world, and I promise you can find plenty of people who cherish and admire your curiosity. Was she supposed to turn off her hearing? What a crumpet of a man. Consider couples counseling if you want to save the relationship. I'm not interested in a relationship with someone who thinks that calling his future wife stupid is a funny joke. If he reacted differently, I would probably give him a chance. The fact that he told you it really was funny is all you needed to hear. Heck, I get defensive if someone talks about my friend, let alone someone I'm supposed to want to marry. Good for you for standing up for yourself. I'm curious as to what his mom has to say other than blaming you. Second update 3 months later. It's been some time since I posted last, so I thought I'd give you guys a small update because some people still keep messaging me. I appreciate all the kind words. So, I got my own apartment now. I lived with my friend for a while, and she was an amazing support for me after the breakup. But now I have my own place closer to my university and work. Turns out, my ex-fiancé didn't tell his family that we broke up. I blocked them all except for the ex, because we needed to keep in touch in order to get my stuff from the apartment that we shared, and my nice sister-in-law. And a week after the breakup, she texted me and asked when I would come to the parents' house, because everyone wants to apologize. I called her and said that we're no longer together, and I don't really want their apology. She seemed shocked, because my ex was telling them that we're fine, she just needs some time. Ex-sister-in-law told me that the family is still fighting over this whole ordeal and that the brothers are giving my ex a hard time about the situation. I told her nicely that I don't really want any updates. I like her, but I cannot put my energy toward following their every move. She told me she understands. I don't know what happened after that with them. I'm happy. I went on a date with a cute guy I met in a cafe, but I'm taking everything slow and I don't want to rush into any relationship. I'm not ready because just 3 months ago, I was planning a wedding, and right now I'm single and focusing on studying and work. When I graduate, I want to adopt a kitten, and that's my only goal in terms of any big commitment right now. I also enrolled in CS50 by Harvard X, and I recommend you all try to learn something new today. If you have any questions, then feel free to ask and I will try to answer in the comments. Hey OP, nice update. First of all, glad that you are doing okay and that you have a place of your own. Keep moving and leave all this in the past. Just learn from this and end that chapter for good. As for your ex, this shows you the lack of guts he had, even to avoid more problems he lied to them. What a POS. But what could you expect from someone with a mother like that? May I ask if you already gone and picked your stuff from his place and blocked him for good? Hope so, for you to end the chapter more easily. Well, hope you the best of luck, and hope you will end your uni soon, so you can adopt the kitten. Wish you the best. Yeah, after a week and a half, I was done picking up my stuff. I tried not to be petty and take my silverware, for example, and not give him a reason to get mad. I didn't want to come alone, so I only went when my friend had the time to help me. He did get mad when I took my air fryer, haha. He loved it more than anything. I blocked him after I took everything that was mine. Seems like you moved on very easily. from love to engaged, and blocked within a few weeks. Yeah, the love faded really fast. I didn't expect it. The attachment to him is still there, but I very quickly stopped feeling love for him when I fully realized that he sees me as stupid and at the very least not on his level. Last story. My fiancé keeps joking about calling off the wedding, and I don't find it funny anymore. I'm hoping for some advice, or at least outside perspective, because I'm not sure if I'm overreacting. My fiancé, 29 male, and I, 27 female, have been together for 5 years, engaged for 1. Our wedding is scheduled for early next year. Lately, he's been making jokes repeatedly about how there's still time to back out, or how he's still shopping around. He says it in a lighthearted tone, often around friends or family, but it's been happening more often and even in private. At first, I brushed it off as nerves or just bad humor, but now it's honestly starting to hurt. When I told him that it makes me uncomfortable and I would appreciate it if he stopped, he just laughed and said I was being too sensitive, and that he was obviously joking. But it doesn't feel like a joke to me anymore. It feels dismissive and a bit cruel. We've never really had issues communicating before, but I feel like every time I bring this up, he shuts it down or makes me feel like I'm the one being unreasonable. I love him, and I do want to marry him, but this behavior is making me question things I never questioned before. Am I overthinking this? Has anyone else dealt with something similar? Any advice is welcome. Now for the advice. Jokes stop being jokes when they consistently hurt the person you love. He is not being funny, he is being dismissive. Honestly, I would call his bluff if he does it again. Call it off. Go stay with friends or family for a day or two and see how he feels. Reevaluate the relationship 24 to 48 hours later. It could be nerves on his end, but it's not funny or fair to you. Yeah, I agree. Next time he does it, say okay. Then act like you're leaving and do it. If he doesn't call to get you back, he meant it, and you wouldn't want to be with him anyway. If he does call to get you back, say, are you going to keep saying you have time to leave me, or are you finally stopping that nonsense now? Stand up for yourself. Call his bluff. Find out the truth. Good luck. Nothing takes the wind out of their sails so fast as just replying with okay. You aren't ignoring and you're not overreacting, so they just have to sit there with you taking their joke and acknowledging it as the face value. My brother used to make jokes about get in the kitchen and make me a sandwich, etc. Eventually, one time I just said okay and got the coffee he wanted and just handed it to him. He never made the joke again. Am I the a-hole for laughing at my stepson and ruining his wedding? For context, I have been married to my husband for just over 20 years. We started dating when my stepkids were 5 and 3. Our kids are Adam, 28, stepkid number 1, Ben, 26, stepkid number 2, Charles, 20, David, 17, and Ellie, 13. Adam is getting married at the end of summer to his fiancée Alice, 27. We have all been very excited for them. All of the kids have roles in the wedding. Charles is the best man, the other 2 boys are groomsmen, and Ellie is a junior bridesmaid. Last weekend, we had a dinner for my husband's birthday. All of the kids attended, along with Alice. The topic of the wedding came up again, and this is where it started to go downhill. Ellie brought up that she was so excited to go dress shopping, and that we plan to go to a bigger city in a few weeks to get her a dress and me a stepmom of the groom dress. At that, Alice looked at Adam sideways and responded that we only needed to worry about one dress, Ellie's. Ellie kind of laughed and said, "What are you expecting mom to wear? A suit?" Alice responded with, "OP isn't going. You know we're keeping our guest list very limited to only family and a few close friends." What? Adam and Alice have been to our house numerous times for holidays, dinners, just to say hi since they've been engaged. This has never been brought up. Pretty quickly, things escalated. The Cliff Notes version is that Charles asked them to clarify if they were choosing to uninvite me now, or if I was never invited. Alice confirmed the latter. As for why, Adam said it's because I'm not his mom. Charles, David, and Ellie argued with Adam and Alice that none of them were going to go if I wasn't invited. That it was cruel to leave me out, given I've been his parent for a majority of his life and loved him like my own. My husband and I admittedly sat there for a minute just completely shocked. Adam finally turned to my husband and said, "Well?" My husband told him he wouldn't be going either. Adam then turned to me and asked if I was really going to let everyone ruin his wedding on my behalf. Here's where I might be the a-hole. I just laughed. I don't know what came over me, but the entire thing was just so ridiculous that laughing was the only thing I could get out. I told my husband I'd be waiting in the car and left, and then promptly bawled my eyes out. Anyway, Charles, David, and Ellie are not talking to Adam. Adam called my husband yesterday to try and smooth things over. He was still adamant I'm not invited and said it's their wedding. He also requested that I apologize for laughing at him. My husband told him tough shit. It's their wedding and they can invite whoever they want, but they can't control who will actually go. He said they owe me an apology and that Adam should be ashamed of himself. I'm getting texts now asking what the heck I did and why I'm being a step monster and ruining the wedding. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Ben was at dinner. He is autistic. He is upset. Everyone is mad at each other, but doesn't quite understand what the argument is. He has been upset at the "I am not his parent" comment, but is also upset his siblings are fighting. We still have 50-50 custody of him, and myself, his dad, and the younger 3 siblings have reassured him that I am his parent and always will be. That we all still love Adam, and we all very much love and adore him, Ben. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. I feel like there's a lot missing here. You've been married to his dad since he was 8. That was years of elementary, middle, high school, college, over 20 years. Is his mother living? Did his fiancé influence him? Just seems odd to not invite his dad's wife of 20 years and call her not family. I don't think you're the a-hole, but I just want to know more about the past 20 years. I am sorry. I had to cut out a lot for the character count to post. When Adam called, my husband did ask him if I had done anything, if it was related to Biomom, she has never gotten along with us, if I had overstepped in any way. Adam says no, it's just they want family only. Stepdad is invited as far as we know. I was a stay-at-home for most of my stepkid's childhood, and we had 50-50. My husband has always worked a lot, but has been as involved as possible. The house and child rearing mostly fell to me though. I love our kids to pieces. I thought we had made it clear from the beginning that I am or was another parent that loves them, not a replacement mom. We've never had any issues, and I thought up until now that we were particularly close. Our communication has slowed since he met Alice, but he was calling me about once or twice a week prior to this. Alice and I have gone shopping on occasion, gotten lunch. I even went with her to the florist for the wedding because her mom wasn't available and Adam got called into work. There has to be something or someone causing an issue, and my husband and I are baffled. Inviting someone who's not invited to the wedding to go floral shopping with you for said wedding is the tackiest thing I've seen in a fat minute. My nephew's bride-to-be invited my family. My husband and brother, nephew's dad, had a falling out. When I RSVP'd for myself and our daughter since husband decided he should stay home to avoid any drama, the RSVP link on the email or digital invitation wouldn't open. I reached out to bride-to-be. She informed me that she invited us on accident. That was sad. Then she sent me their registry. That cured me of my sadness. My parents are the rich ones in the extended family. Despite moving across the country 25 years ago and having little to nothing to do with anyone, they were still invited to all my cousins' weddings. They always send a gift in the form of a generous, enough to make it really sting, donation to a charity close to the family. Now for the first update. Thank you to everyone who responded to my post. Most of you were kind and offered good advice. I appreciate it. Before I give an update, I just want to answer a few frequently asked questions. 1. I am not an affair partner. My husband did not cheat on his ex-wife with me. We met about a year after they divorced. She was already engaged, not to the current stepdad. Not that that really matters. 2. Ben was at the dinner. He is autistic. I went into it more in some of my comments, but he was very upset. He doesn't understand what the argument was exactly about, but he was mostly upset at Adam for saying I'm not their parent, and then at all the siblings for fighting with each other. Anyway, the update. The short version is, if you guessed it was related to BioMom, you're correct. I didn't want this to be the case. Adam rescheduled with Charles for Monday, citing Easter weekend, fair enough. He also texted my husband to let him know that he and Alice would be doing Easter with her parents. We expected that. At some point on Sunday, Ellie texted Alice. I'm not sure what exactly was said, but it prompted Alice to spill everything that was going on with her parents. I've met them a few times, but they live a few hours away. They encouraged her and Adam to reach out to us to clear everything up. On Monday, we dropped Ben off at BioMom's. He stayed an extra night for Easter fun. A few hours later, she began to blow up my husband's phone because Ben mentioned the fight. My husband answered one call, during which she was screaming, and he promptly hung up. He texted her that the siblings argued, everything is fine, and that if Ben had any further questions, we would talk about it when he's back with us. From some of the things she texted, we knew she was the root of all of this. On Monday, Adam also met up with Charles, and he did come clean. Charles texted us to see if it was okay if they came over afterward, and we said yes. I'm not going to lie, Adam looked a mess. He immediately began crying and apologizing. The short and sweet of it is that he's been trying to mend bridges with BioMom. Their wedding isn't 60 people, it's blown up to about double that, and they have been struggling to figure out how to pay for it. At one of their visits, Alice let it slip, and BioMom jumped in to help pay for things. It slowly snowballed from there, from small requests to big ones. I'm not sure what the final nail in the coffin was, but it ended with BioMom requesting that I not be there. Adam said it was easier to hurt me than to risk World War III with his mom. Alice's parents were less than pleased to find out how they've been handling the wedding and budget, and even less so about BioMom's antics. They are trying to figure out how to start covering the payments BioMom has made. We've decided to help with this. Adam also asked if we could meet again in a few days with Alice, and we've said yes. There is still a lot of ground to cover for this to be close to mended. I am still hurt, but mostly, I'm angry on behalf of my oldest son. You and your husband, though your offer to pay is generous, shouldn't let Adam or Alice off the hook this easily. In his own words, it was easier to hurt you than to start a conflict with his mom. It was easier for him to invite every single person you love and care for, expecting them to betray you and humiliate you, than it was for him to recognize his mom's manipulation and ask for help elsewhere. Not even just financial help, but emotional support. He would rather have had you sit alone and abandoned than take responsibility for their poor planning and his mom's behavior. And when you didn't accept it, when your loved ones didn't accept it, instead of admitting he was wrong or coming clean or doing anything remotely sane, he and his soon-to-be wife started cussing you out, as if you had done anything but be kind. I hope you get a chance to begin healing, but you won't get there if you and your husband don't acknowledge the very real role and responsibility Adam had in letting this situation play out. Just jumping in now with money and immediate forgiveness will only be a band-aid, not real healing. Absolutely. For me, it's the fact that Alice lied about it just being a few limited people, or whatever, when their guest list had already doubled. Like when OP's entire extended family showed up, they wouldn't immediately realize there were over 100 people there. Even if it was just 60 people as originally planned, that's still a heck of a lot of people to put above the woman who helped raise Adam. WTF. They opened themselves up to this mess by letting the guest list grow, which made them need more money. And then they tried to play it off like it was so tiny, they just couldn't accommodate one person. And then claimed she's not family? Wow. BioMom is a snake, but what Adam and Alice pulled is also very shady. Now for the last update 2 months later. To catch everyone up really quick, Adam came over to have a conversation with us after talking to Charles. He's been reconnecting with his mother over the last year, and she's the real root of everything. It started with small requests as they got closer, then she began paying for things for the wedding, and it escalated to me being uninvited. About a week after that, Adam and Alice came over for another conversation. My husband and I read through all of your comments and already had a game plan. We explained that while we love them to bits and forgive them, this is still a big mess and they need to hold themselves accountable for 1. The situation with Biomom, and 2. How they treated me. It wasn't just about the dinner. It was also about the months they allowed the ex-wife to crap talk me to them. We would not be bailing them out financially for this. I haven't pried into too many details, but Adam had a talk with his mom. She was calm and agreed to everything he said, suspicious. Mostly that they will not exclude me from future events or tolerate any unkind words about me moving forward. He and Alice canceled their wedding. They got back a good portion of their money, mostly to pay back Biomom. When he tried to drop off a check to her, she absolutely lost it. Adam hasn't wanted to talk much about the things that were said, but he has told us they are currently no contact. I won't say the exact date, but Adam and Alice asked us all to meet for dinner. We got there and Alice's parents and siblings were there too. It wasn't just dinner, they eloped. We got to go to the courthouse with them and then celebrate after. They seemed so happy. 3 days later, my husband was at work and I was coming home from errands when I got a very panicked call from Ellie. The ex-wife was outside, pounding on our door and screaming her head off. I gave Ellie instructions and then called 911. I then called my husband. When I got there, the ex-wife was already detained. She hadn't broken in, but she had damaged the outside of our door and the siding around it. And she was still screaming. The stuff she was saying was absolutely vile, and most of the reason I haven't wanted to update. It was everything from, "I hate you," and "It's your fault Adam won't talk to me," to "Stealing my kids from me won't replace the ones you lost." After that comment, I tuned out the rest until she was placed in the back of the cop car. It's important context that we've had several miscarriages, one of which I know the ex-wife knew about. What I really think she was referencing is the baby we had between David and Ellie, who was full-term and stillborn. I still don't understand how anyone could say something so awful and carry so much hate. Putting it out there is hard, and honestly, I don't have much comment on it, other than I'm lucky to have the husband I do. Some of the charges we decline to pursue. Some the police department will pursue regardless of whether we ask them to or not. She is already bailed out, but our restraining order has been granted pending a court date with the judge. From the bits and pieces we hear, the ex-wife's family has put her on lockdown. Her brother works for the department that arrested her, so this has been quite the talk of the town. We have not heard from her since, and her mother has told my husband we absolutely won't be hearing from her or having any further issues. We have been doing exchanges for Ben with the stepdad. I'm pleased it worked out for you, and that you had the talk about their needing to own this. And thank goodness told them you weren't going to help them financially. However, never turn your back on Alice. I think Adam has married his mother. Let's just say he seems to be easily led, and I think she is more than a misled party in this. I refer to your first post. At that, Alice looked at Adam sideways and responded that we only needed to worry about one dress, Ellie's. Ellie kind of laughed and said, "What are you expecting Mom to wear? A suit?" Alice responded with, "OP isn't going." I suspect she will continue to cause trouble and drive a wedge between you and Adam, and he'll go there again. Take care. I second this. She sure didn't have his best interest at heart when she was okay with him writing off his mother of 20 years so she could have a party. When my husband wanted to sleep through lunch with his grandmother, I yelled at him that he needed to get his butt out of bed because she's 90 and we're never in town and she's looking forward to it. That's when my mother-in-law decided I was okay. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not letting my mom come to my graduation because she wanted to bring the man I hate? I, 17 female, recently graduated from high school. We had a graduation ceremony where we could invite close family. I'd been looking forward to this event for a long time because the past few years have been rough. School stress, family issues, anxiety. This was supposed to be my moment to finally relax and feel proud of myself. My mom, 42 female, has been dating a man I honestly can't stand. He's never been physically abusive, but he constantly makes belittling jokes, tries to control my mom, gets involved in my business, and acts like he's my dad, which he's not and never will be. I've asked my mom multiple times not to bring him to family events because I just feel awful around him. She always says, "He's part of my life, you'll have to get used to it." When I told her I didn't want him at my graduation, she got upset and said, if he's not welcome, then I won't come either. I said, okay, and invited my aunt, my mom's sister, who I'm really close to. We had a lovely time. Now my mom is telling everyone how ungrateful I am and how I excluded her from a major life event. Some relatives have started texting me saying I went too far, but I just didn't want my day to be ruined. Am I the a-hole? When I went to go live with my dad, my first big event was a choir concert. My mom did not show up because I did not officially invite her. I just informed her. We are low contact 45 years later. That sounds like what happened to me and my wannabe birth father on my graduation day. I had absolutely no contact with him, and I didn't know his address. He calls me up the day of graduation and screams at me about why I didn't receive an invitation. I flat out told him that I didn't know where he was living. He then said he was living with his sister, who I did send an invitation to. So it wasn't like he didn't know the dates and address. He made that whole thing about himself instead of being about me, just like OP's mom did.